Oh, are we videotaping already?
Yes.
Oh my gosh, that was amazing. Okay, so welcome. So tonight we're going to learn about raw food. We're going to learn about the Mediterranean diet, and you're going to taste a lot of food. Why you get a little bit extra food is because we have a retreat going on, and so I thought, well, I'll make extra, and then we have it for lunch tomorrow. Yes, retreat people. Okay, anyhow, so we thought we'd make a little bit more than usual. My name is Karen. I'm a holistic healthcare practitioner, and so food is everything. I literally just came back from a convention and it was amazing. Learned a ton of amazing information, microbiome, lots of medical doctors there, functional doctors there, naturopathic doctors there, chiropractors there, nurses there, everybody there. And like, you know, the doctor who helps everyone get rid of thyroid, you know, went around and did these group things, and it was all about what prescriptions to use and how much and blah, 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 and how to treat them. And I'm so like, and I just sat there quietly bursting because like I've had 100% success getting everybody off of, well, I don't get them off of medications because I'm not a medical doctor. This is for entertainment purposes only. Got that? Okay, anyhow, but like these people do really well with just like changing their diet and using iodine and fixing their liver, and then ta-da, the thyroid works, you know? So it was really interesting that they still go back to medicine. And they go back to supplementation. Okay, take this much glutathione, and take this NAC, which is great, like that's lovely, but your body makes all of your own glutathione. I don't know if you knew that or not. Your body makes all of it if you have all the right stuff in the body to make it in the first place. And so it all comes back to the kitchen. Everything comes back to the kitchen. All health starts in the kitchen and will end in the kitchen. So everything you eat, everything you drink, everything you put on your skin, and even your thoughts are all gonna do one thing, make you well or make you sick, right? One healthy cell divides into what? 2 healthy cells. One sick cell divides into what? 2 sick cells. It is that simple, right? It is that simple. So if you take the cell context is the environment that is feeding the cell. Is there boron? Is there zinc? Is there magnesium? Are the elements there that are needed to take that cell into a healthy state, or is that missing? If it's missing, then no matter what you do, how many supplements you take, if you're missing the one key ingredient that is needed for that cell to spark and function and create a hormone or a neurotransmitter, then you are literally gonna miss the buck, right? You're not gonna be able to get well no matter what you do. Same thing, if you take all the food and supplements but you have a negative thought pattern, boom, you're gonna miss the buck. So the kitchen in my home, raising all of our children, and we did. I have 12 children. A couple of them were stepchildren, 3 were stepchildren, but we've had a lot of family come through my home, and it's been amazing. But we made the kitchen the central part of our home. So if it is not your favorite place, I'm really hoping after tonight, you're like, I'm gonna make it more my favorite place, right? Because like, we painted the walls maroon, because that's like this, that's passion. So I don't know how many of you know feng shui, but I'm a feng shui fanatic, right? Well, almost, not terribly so, but kind of. But anyhow, and so like we had all of our rooms painted certain colors, so when people came, like, did you notice the outside of our home? What do you guys think? Is this going to be fun or what? I know, right? Because as we change the color, it changes everything about the building. So maroon, this dark color we have, is very passionate and very inviting. So in your kitchen, don't be afraid to bring some color in there along with all this great food. How many of you are new and have never heard me speak? And this is kind of a new thing. Okay, so we got some newbies. I never slow down. I can't. I literally can't. I was emceeing in Georgia for year after year after year, and they'd stand in the back. Slow down. So my joke before I moved to Georgia was like, okay, I'll pretend I'm in Georgia, and I'll talk slow. I couldn't do it. I couldn't even pretend to talk slow, so I'm just apologizing right off the bat. Actually, I'm not apologizing. But anyhow, you are going to have a lot of fun. I want you to ask questions. So if I'm doing something, you have a question on something, please just ask. We have a lot of things made, and then I'm going to make a few things in front of you. There's a couple key tools you'll want in a raw food kitchen or in a Mediterranean kitchen. So let me explain what both of those diets are. A raw food diet, which is what I lived, and I have lived since I was probably 22 years old. Right? I've lived almost my entire life as a raw foodist. It's just what I like. It's what I like to eat. So I'm not anti-meat. I am anti-meat from Walmart or most places because that is those poor animals, right? Anyhow, so the good news is for those who are local, we're bringing all of our own meat in. These are happy animals, are kept with their moms when the cats are kept with their moms when they're born. No, no antibiotics, all great stuff. We have 2 locations we're bringing that in from, so that is coming in the future. You'll be able to get a lot of phenomenal, not only grass-fed but grass-finished beef, wonderful brisket. We got, like I said, a big farm that I bought all my meat from when I had my stores open in Wisconsin and Utah, and then we have a new family farm that we're working with out of Arkansas. Anyhow, but so I'm not anti-meat. I just want you to know that that's just been my diet. So a raw food diet is when you eat 75% of what you're eating is alive. That doesn't mean bugs are crawling out of it. I mean, except maybe they are once in a while, but they're really happy to have organic kale too. I mean, if you find a bug in your corn, that's a good thing, right? Because it's eating the piece of corn. If it's dead or nothing's in the corn, that's because it's sprayed with what? Insecticide and pesticide, right? And so it's going to kill you too. So like, just get over it, right? All those side dishes are designed to do one thing, kill a living nervous system. So you spray insecticide on something and you eat it, what's it going to do to your nervous system? You spray pesticide on something and you eat it, what's it going to do to your nervous system? Larvicide, that's in all your meat. They started putting larvicide in meat because people like me were taking videos of like, here's a pork chop, here's some Coca-Cola. Oh, look at all the parasites come out and put it on YouTube. Well, they didn't like that very much, right? Because like people didn't buy pork anymore. So they added larvicide to kill the larvae in the meat. So now you can pour Coca-Cola on it and the larvae's already dead. Where's the larvae? Dead.
Ew.
I know, disgusting. We're gonna move on now. Anyhow, but I'm just saying that those things are literally herbicides, are designed to do what? Kill herbs, weeds, right? Those things actually bring you a lot of health. And so the more side dishes you add to your food by not sticking organic, just be careful on that. You don't have to buy everything organic. There's a great website called ewg.org. I mentioned it a lot. You can go there, they tell you the clean 15 things you can always eat non-organic because it really doesn't matter, they don't spray them anyways, and then they have the dirty dozen. So just kind of stick to that to start with, so at least you're keeping as many of the pesticides out of the body as possible. Okay, so a raw food diet, that matters a lot because all of a sudden everything's alive. We want to clean everything really well. I didn't do a lot of bread. Now I make phenomenal bread. I'm going to make it at the end of the retreat. But our bread is actually made in a dehydrator. We dehydrate, and we'll do dehydrating classes in the future so I can dehydrate all these things for you so you can taste them. But I have like 10 bread recipes that aren't your typical yeast and flour and, make everything rise and puff you and bloat you. This is actually like made out of flax seeds and vegetables, and you put it into a food processor and you actually make it in a dehydrator, and they're wonderful. So that is coming. We'll do a dehydrating class really soon.
Is there an outlet?
Right on this side, this side, this side, this side.
Okay, thank you.
And then, so that's a raw food diet. Mediterranean diet is vegetables, honey, small amounts of meat, all right, and you're avoiding what? You're avoiding sugar, you're avoiding grain. In the raw food diet, obviously you avoid, you avoid some grain, and you don't do any meat. So there's a couple differences. That's what we're actually going to teach tonight.
Can I elaborate on the Mediterranean diet?
Yeah, please do. Yeah, please go ahead.
Okay.
Well, of course, and wine. You need good wine in the Mediterranean diet.
So,
well, I'm just saying that because that's what you'd see in the pictures.
So how familiar are y'all with Mediterranean diets in general, would you say? Or would you be like, oh yeah, I could give someone a pretty easy description? Okay. So Mediterranean diet, like she said, very rich in plants and different different vegetables, eggplants, lettuces. They cook with tons of fresh herbs. Their salads are like half fresh herbs.
Yes.
They cook with just tons of fresh herbs. It is a very high healthy fat diet. So they love their olive oil, love their full fat. If they're gonna use they'll make their own yogurt, and it's not sweet yogurt. It's very it's not a savory yogurt either. It's a sour yogurt. So that can help with digestion. Maybe every now and then some feta cheese, but mostly they're getting their fats from olive oils, and they cook with the fat of the meat that they eat. So they're not getting your super lean beef or your just your chicken breast. They love lamb, or if they cook with any part of the animal, they're gonna keep all the fat in there and use that fat in the cooking. And actually, interestingly enough, that fat, whether you're getting it from olive oil or from the animal fat, that fat can actually help as a carrier to get nutrients into your cells, because your cells have this something called a lipid bilayer. Have you guys heard of that? And the membrane of all of your cells has this lipid bilayer. And so if you have fat soluble things that can carry fat soluble nutrients directly into the cell, fat repels water. Okay, so you're not going to have any water-based vitamins or minerals just floating their way through the membrane. But if it's a fat-based, mineral or vitamin that's in a particle of fat, that comes straight through the lipid bilayer. And so it is, well, that's why anyone who does that like liposomal, glutathione and stuff like that, it's just a way of getting things into the cell faster. So they love cooking with their fats because it's a great carrier of nutrients into your body. So they'll cook with a lot of that. One thing I do love about their meals is the variety in terms of like they'll have something raw to provide those enzymes. In this case, a lot of times they'll make a fresh salad and forget about fancy salad dressings. They think Americans are so overboard with our salad dressings. Like Thousand Island dressing, they would like put in prison out there because their version of salad dressing is just olive oil, lemon, salt, and pepper. That's it. Olive oil. Have you guys ever made that? Olive oil, lemon, salt, and pepper on a salad? It's so good. I'm telling you, you will not be wanting for flavor. Just try it. Do use at least like a half a lemon, if not a whole lemon, if you're making like a pretty good sized salad, and then a few tablespoons of olive oil, salt, pepper, boom. So they'll, have their lettuce and their herbs and cucumbers and tomatoes and make a fresh salad, and then maybe they'll do something with, either meat or with hummus, which is beans, like garbanzo beans. So they'll have like something that's like cooked, and then maybe they're eating that either with pita bread, like some fresh baked bread, or that's really thin stuff, or rice, and then maybe like a little bit of yogurt if they make it themselves, and then just olive oil and seasoning. So it's a very whole food diet. If you were just gonna put it simply, it's that you can recognize everything on your plate if you're eating the Mediterranean diet. You can see there's like vegetables, there's gonna be some whole grains, or might be some meat, or at least some beans. It's very full in like healthy fat. And last thing I'll say about this is it's that variety. It is getting hot in here. Is the air on?
Air's on.
Okay.
We had it running most of the day.
Okay. The variety of different plants that they eat is what gives them such a diverse microbiome. Have you gotten into the microbiome yet?
Yep.
Okay, I'm just going to spend 2 minutes on this.
And I would want to mention, this is what I was talking about earlier when I started. I said, okay, we were at a microbiome convention because we're all about the bacteria in the gut, in the skin, right, in the lungs. You have this wonderful bacteria that goes throughout the body that actually controls your health. So when so we're going to talk about the microbiome just for a few minutes here, but I did mention it earlier.
So get this, you guys. Our genes, you all have heard of like we all have genes, like they're like 99.9% the same among all of us. We just have like some variations. Like our liver's made the same way, our skin tissue's made the same way. We might have variations in how much pigmentation we have in our skin or in how curly or straight our hair is, but so much of our body is the same person to person. Your microbiome, which is over 100 trillion organisms that are not your human cells that are living on and in your body, 100 trillion, that can vary up to 90% person to person. So you ask yourself, like, man, how come this twin is dealing with this issue and this twin's not having any issue? You take a stool test and analyze their microbiome, completely different bacteria living in their body. So they've done this, they've just done so many tests like this where they're like, whoa, these people share the exact same genes. Why do they have such different health outcomes? It comes down to their microbiome. What are the bacteria and fungus and viruses and worms that are living inside their body? Now you're going to have beneficial, every single one of those. You're going to have beneficial worms, beneficial viruses, beneficial bacteria, beneficial fungus. You will. But you're also going to have pathogenic ones that are the bad guys. So the cool thing about fiber is that the good bacteria, they're like favorite food source is fiber. Favorite food source, okay? So there's like a few different strains. You guys may have heard of like Lactobacillus is a really common strain. There's another strain called Akkermansia. Amazing. Like your levels of Akkermansia can predict whether or not you're going to get these major 12 chronic diseases that are killing Americans right now. And our levels of Akkermansia in America right now are so low. So it's like everyone's got to get their levels of Akkermansia. The biggest culprit is we're not eating enough different types of fiber. So here's the cool part. This is like the coolest part. You're going to be like, I must not have the bacteria in my body. And you're like, where do I get it? Like, do I go like lick a rock that's full of dirt? Or like, how do I get it? So the cool part is your body actually stores these microbes, both on the lining of your colon, but also in your appendix. And all you need, it's like the last man standing, okay? You can have you can be treated with antibiotics, eat a terrible diet, be under chronic stress for 20 years, and have this like horrible gut health, and you're gonna have one spore of Akkermansia. Who's holding on, just waiting for the right environment, and then he's gonna see a rutabaga come through your colon and be like, that's my stuff, and then you're gonna start eating it. And then the more he eats it, he's going to proliferate, and the Akkermansia is going to start to grow. So the biggest perspective shift I had this Microbiome Labs convention is I thought to have a balanced gut microbiome, you got to be taking the right probiotics. Wrong. To have a balanced microbiome, you have to create the right environment. Because you've all seen a pond can go from clear to like covered in algae in like a week if the temperature changes and the environment changes, and maybe there's like some extra nitrates from some runoff, from some rain. You all have seen like bodies of water just change overnight. Your bacteria is so responsive to the gut environment that you create. In fact, sometimes when I eat fried food and my energy goes down or my mood goes down, I used to think it was from like the oil and stuff. No. Right now, this is how nerdy I am. I'm like, man, my gut bacteria just did not like that meal, and now it's affecting my mood. Bummer, you know? I think about like, cause our mood is. I'm going off the deep end. I'm sorry.
Yeah, you have like 4 more minutes because I gotta make.
I know. We'll finish. But here's the thing. I know. I'm bad at the time estimation. But the thing is that these bacteria are affecting your hormones and your neurotransmitters. Like they've totally proven this. For every one message your brain sends your gut sends your brain 9. For every one message your brain sends your intestinal tract is sending your brain 9. It's a lot. So there's like all sorts of information that's headed back up to your brain, and that's coming in the form of neurotransmitters, hormones, and impulses. So the gut bacteria we create can have a huge impact on our mood. And if you're eating like no fiber right now, you gotta slowly ease into it, or else you're gonna have that bloating. Because anyone had like a lot of fiber out of the blue, and you're like, whoa, like major bloating. It's because different bacteria are designed to help you break this stuff down. Like your human body wouldn't normally break this down, but you have like strains of bacteria that help break that down. So you can build those strains of bacteria up to help you break it down. And the good part is the last thing I'm gonna leave you with, good bacteria poop out nutrients. Bad bacteria poop out endotoxins. So the good bacteria are making B vitamins for you. They're making short chain fatty acids, which is gonna help with your mitochondria and all these other systems. They're gonna synthesize neurotransmitters like serotonin. So like the good bacteria are helping make nutrients for your body. So even though you're not using the fiber to like build your body, you're feeding the good bacteria that are now creating nutrients to help your body. That was an overboard 2-minute thing, but okay, just kind of feeling on that. Thank you. So that's why I love the Mediterranean diet, because it's very diverse, high in healthy fat, high in tons of vegetables, and it's just very satiating to eat because it's like so much flavor.
So, and thank you, Amy. At Holistic Health Educators, we've been teaching for decades on the diversity of fruits and vegetables that you consume. Because as Amy said, there's rutabaga that comes through. There are bacteria that are waiting for the fibers in that rutabaga, right? A little bit of that, boom, they're going to start growing. So I thought it'd be really fun. If anybody volunteers, you don't have to volunteer. Anybody wants to volunteer to take a list of all the different fruits, vegetables, nuts, and seeds we're eating. So you can actually see what you're eating tonight. You just had 44 different nuts, seeds, fruits, or vegetable. Anybody want to take a note on that? How to rattle them off? Are you cool with that? Okay, here we go. So it doesn't matter to me what I make first, how we're gonna, oh gosh. 8:30 if I got into a Georgian style, Georgia style. So then we're gonna do that. We're gonna change things up a little bit tonight because I did make a very large batch of 2 things we had for lunch for the retreat that I also wanted you to taste. So what I'm gonna do is make all the food, and then we're gonna put it all out, and then you can come through and just take some of everything. Is that cool? Okay, so the menu for tonight, drum roll please, is somewhere, but of course I don't know where I put the menu. But anyhow, it's on a yellow piece of paper if anybody sees mine. That'll work. Does that work? Is it right here? Is it right here somewhere? No, it's a big one. I know, one right there. This works for me. If you don't mind just periodically making it. Okay, we are going to be making raw marinara, one of my very favorite things. Oh my gosh, melt your mouth. And we made zucchini noodles. This will be super fun. We made granola, homemade granola, super easy. I'm going to teach you how to make it. It's so easy. And then how to make nut milks. This is great. We'll talk about that in a minute. Quinoa. How many of you have not had quinoa before? Quinoa. It's okay if you have not had quinoa. A lot of people don't know. They call it quinoa or something. But anyhow, it's quinoa. I've got that, and then we're making a veggie curry, which is delicious. We're making hummus, and then we have carrots and cucumbers, both cucumbers for that. Esme, which is made by Greg. Thank you very much. Greg made this a turkey dish, and it's absolutely fantastic. So you will love that. And we have some toasted tortillas for that. We made raw bars. This is our go-to when you want to grab something to eat and you feel great instead of a candy bar. I love those. Those are over there. And then we have broccoli, grape slaw, and we have a cauliflower, like a slightly spicy cauliflower. I call it cauliflower in flight, and I have no idea why I named it that. But if anybody own my cookbook and wonder why I named half of the things the way I named them, it's just how it came out. Okay, so that's how it is, honey. It's quite fun. But anyhow, so that's what we're gonna make tonight, today, night, whatever it is. So let's just do marinara first. So this is a food processor. This is one thing you are going to all want to own at some point. Amy, can you grab the extension cord super quick? There's one right inside the door. I just put one down there.
Are these things in your cookbook that you're making?
Most of these are in my cookbook. Not all of them are. But the malt marinara shirt is definitely in there. Me and my left bottom. Okay, so this is a food processor. This is my favorite food processor, by the way. It is it's a Cuisinart 14 cup. If you're doing any of my recipes, this is the one you want. You don't want tiny little food processors. Spend $200 to get a really good food processor. You can make everything in this. It's absolutely fantastic. Right down here, there's one, honey. Thank you. And so this is a really easy recipe to make. Turn this back on. Now, with a food processor, you can make, like, I'll use it for hummuses, any kind of this, like a raw marinara. I make ice cream in this. We actually make, I just thought earlier, I'm like, oh my gosh, I need to do a raw dessert class. Would that not be such a blast? Right. What's that?
Roma tomatoes?
Yeah, so I use Roma tomatoes almost exclusively because I hate wasting money. And Roma tomatoes are so thick, you get so much tomato per pound, you're not paying for water. So I use a lot of Roma tomatoes, more than anything. And then this is just a blend of different peppers. I'm gonna throw some sun-dried tomatoes. I do normally make mine ahead of time, but we have a big thing going on. What's that? These are sun-dried tomatoes.
No, the yellow pepper.
No, that's just yellow peppers.
Yellow red peppers.
Yeah, yellow red peppers. Sun-dried tomatoes are something I'd always keep on hand. They're just something we can sell a lot of. Yeah. Okay, and then I love spices. Now, those of you who come to most of my classes know that spices are very healing. All of them actually have medicinal qualities. So oregano is incredible for the heart. Pepper right now, I recommend pepper for every human being pretty much as you can handle right now, because pepper is helping to break apart blood clots that are mysteriously showing up in people and we have no idea why. Thank you very much. So use lots of black pepper. Okay, I'm gonna throw garlic in here because I'm kind of a garlic fanatic, so we're gonna put a lot of garlic in there. One more, okay, thank you. And then this is fresh basil. This is basil from our garden. We had so much. Let's hope this actually works. Okay, just stay in there, and we'll put some more in once it blends up. And then I'll put some oil, which I brought out for one recipe. If I was oil, where would I be? This is where it contains. Yeah, I could use that. No, I think it's gone. Oh no, there's some in there. Excellent, thank you. I'll add the rest of that in there. Okay, so, and then, because we're not going to sample until the end, does anybody have any food allergies that I should know about? Do you have one? What do you do? Oh, yeah, we have one. Yeah, everything. Whatever. Okay. So, and this is interesting to note, you guys, by the way, is when people have allergies, it's often all gut related. And so I do teach a class on reversing every known allergy to man, because it is possible. If you've ever had a heart attack or a stroke, you have leaky gut. And I don't know how Greg constrained me, because we were at the microbiome convention, and right next door was an allergen convention full of medical doctors learning the new things to get rid of, to treat allergies, and I was like, oh, can I just go and just talk to him for a few minutes, you know? I did.
It wasn't easy.
I know, it was hard. He pulled my hand, I was like, wait, I really want to go that way, you know? It was so funny. We got this. So we'll do the analogy class. That's it. That is literally raw marinara. Was that the easiest thing in the world? And we're gonna serve that over. These are zucchini noodles. I'm gonna show you how we made those because it was delicious. Tara, could you throw that into a bowl when you have a minute? Thank you so much. So zucchini noodles are made with a spiralizer. So this is a spiralizer. There's different size blades that you can use that pop in and out down here. I'm gonna use a regular spiralizer one, and I'm gonna move this. I'm gonna do it in front of you. I gotta use that again. I'm gonna use that so otherwise I would. So you can kind of watch. Isn't that just amazing? So you can make big ones and you can make little ones. You can use them raw, just like this. I do them in hot water for about 5 minutes just to soften them a little bit more.
Now you don't boil them like normal noodles.
No.
Turn to bush.
Yep. And then,
It's not a flower arrangement.
is that a lovely flower arrangement
That's
or
what I
what?
thought.
I know, so it's just, you can eat them obviously, but that was, Jade made us the flower arrangement earlier today. Very, very nice. It's very lovely, very lovely.
Good idea.
Great snack
And again, the number one thing that I'd love for you to take away while watching us make food is how easy it is to do this in your kitchen. People get really nervous in the kitchen. They don't know what to buy. They don't know where to start. And that is the hard part. I can tell you that when we do open up our store, you'll be able to buy quart jars of all of our blends and all of our spices, right? These are my spice jars, and most of the time they're in quarts because this is medicine. So in the day when I'm cooking, it's medicine. Everything is medicine. So when I make curry, which I'll just start right now, it's medicine, right? These are herbs that are going to open up your arteries and your veins so food moves quicker. There's turmeric in there, which can reduce all your inflammation. I have a lot of inflammation in some of my ribs. I had 6 of them break several years ago, and so every once in a while, a couple of them will pop out. I get really inflamed. I'm always to the turmeric, like instantly. And so there's a lot of, and there's obviously clove in here, which kills parasites, and there's cinnamon, which helps with all your digestive disorders and breaking glucose and getting glucose into the cells, right? And butyrate. Anyhow, so we're gonna go ahead and make some of that curry. For this recipe, it is so simple. Who's over there? Candy, could you go in that freezer? And I have that in the big tall freezer, 2nd or 3rd shelf down. I have that a bag of vegetables from Costco. You can get your vegetables from anywhere. I just grabbed them from Costco for this because I was up there. I'm gonna let this simmer right now. It is literally just this bag right here. This is easy to go to. They have organic ones. They didn't when I was there this last time. So it's a vegetable mix, so you can use whatever you want. Thank you, Candy. And then I'm gonna throw in coconut milk and curry and just let this sit here. And this is that simple. This is my favorite coconut milk, by the way. If you're looking for a good organic coconut milk, this is definitely one I love. I've used a variety of them more, but this is my favorite. Now, don't be afraid of the word coconut or curry, by the way. How many of you are afraid of coconut? A little bit. Okay, that's okay. That is understandable. We're gonna make you not afraid of coconut. And then this is the curry. So we're gonna add curry. Told you. I know. Who was here for the herb class? Okay. So remember, I was like, oh yeah, we use so many spices and everything. Like you all left, and I made a big dinner. I took a picture of it because it was so funny, and I had put handfuls of 10 different. I'm like, well, there you have it. I'm like, that's what we do. It's just medicine for your body. So this is a white Himalayan salt from Antarctica. Okay, so we're gonna let this just sit and simmer.
So that curry powder is just a mix of turmeric,
I have my recipe.
chili powder, cardamom.
Here we go.
Not cardamom.
This one, every curry is different.
Okay.
This is my recipe. I'll say it out loud if someone wants to write it down. But it's my curry powder. I quadruple this, but 2 tablespoons of coriander, 2 tablespoons of cumin.
Wait a minute.
Well, I'm just whatever. I'll email it to everybody. I promise. Just make sure your emails are on that piece of paper. If your emails are not on that piece of paper, you aren't getting the email. How's that? Understood? Anybody not understand that? Okay, thank you. I felt so bad when some of you didn't get the email. I'm like, that's why you put it on the paper. I already have your emails, but I don't know who comes. So 2 tablespoons coriander, 2 tablespoons cumin, 1.5 tablespoons turmeric, 2 teaspoons of ginger powder. It's not that much, you should be fine. 1.5 teaspoons of cinnamon, 1 teaspoon mustard powder, a 1/2 teaspoon pepper, 1/2 teaspoon cardamom, but I usually add more because I really like cardamom. And then a 1/2 teaspoon cayenne. Now mind you, I wrote this recipe once. Do you think I actually follow it all the time? No. Okay, so like if you're making your curry and you're feeling clove, add it. If you're feeling coriander, more of it, add it. Like literally feel your spices. Don't be so religious to a recipe that you don't experiment, because your body might be calling for something very different than what the person who wrote the recipe body needed. If your microbiome is saying X, Y, and Z, you want to listen to it. This retreat that we're hosting this weekend is a really phenomenal retreat, but a big part of this retreat is listening, like literally getting in tune with the earth around you, the people around you, so that you can be better inspired and to live a life more in tune. Many of us we're so like, okay, we'll tune into a TV, we'll tune into the radio, but are we tuning into the people in our home? Are we tuning into the earth? Are we tuning into what the earth might need? Are we tuning into the environment that we are providing for ourselves? You ever go in your house and be like, where do I love to be in this home? Oh, maybe not anywhere, but maybe one area, right? Then fix the other areas that you don't love to be in, and do the same thing with the people that surround you. If you find yourself really irritated by somebody, start listening. Don't just keep doing it because it's repetitive. What did you say earlier? We were presenting about breaking a habit. Bring it back. What did you say?
And just that we are creatures of habit. That is very true. You're
No, you said something really cool. Who wrote it down? Did anybody write it down? Okay. Well, if it comes to one of us, we're going to tell you because it was amazing. But it is true. We get so habitual that we forget to think outside the box. And I'm obviously a big thinker outside the box person. We're going to make hummus next. Hummus is a very big mainstay. Oh, yeah, I'm going to start the world on fire over here. There we go. So, how many of you have made hummus? Have many of you made hummus? Okay, so a few of you, excellent. I make hummus out of garbanzo beans. Ow, I should not have done that. And I also make garbanzo beans out of black beans because I love black bean hummus. Now I want to show you something though. This is tahini. This is an organic tahini. There is always that liquid, you know, on all of your nut and seed butters you buy. Never, ever, ever mix this in with the product, okay? This is 100% rancid. That oil is oxidative stress, like literally. So always pour the peanut oil or your oiled up. If you go to get peanut butter and there's a bunch of oil in that clear jar, don't buy it. Go to the very back of the peanut butters, you know, because they stack them deep. Get the one in the back because that one in the front is old and it has separated. So you don't really want that. So I'm going to pour that down. Okay. Thank you, Amy. Very bell pepper. Very good. That's, oh, you know what I need? You're amazing. Okay, so again, back to the food processor. You can try this at home in a blender. It might not be as magnificent, but there's recipes for this in my cookbook. Again, you don't really have to ever follow recipes, but it gives you a good guideline.
Okay, can you guys help me out for this social media post? I just need you to go like, ooh, ah. Okay, 1, 2, 3.
You are so crazy. Oh my gosh. I'm making marinara and curry and hummus and raw bars and granolas and all sorts of stuff. Yeah.
So now if you were using black beans, you would have them already cooked, right?
Yeah, and these are already cooked also. So this is a garbanzo bean. How many of you have never had just a garbanzo bean plain before? I'm gonna pass them around. So you can just like grab some out of there. They're very tasty. And so beans, just think of beans as number one, loaded in protein and fiber. But beans do things, the special things that beans will do is they take on the flavor of anything you add to them. So it's really convenient because if you want to make something taste, you know, X, Y, or Z, you can just use beans and change the spices. So that is a garbanzo bean and this is just plain cooked garbanzo bean. A garbanzo bean is the same as a chickpea. So it's the same thing. Yeah, this is just cumin, pepper, salt. I'm gonna throw some lemons in there and some zucchini, some tahini.
Salt, tahini, and roasted red bell pepper. You put lemon in yet?
I will put some in there. I would like some onion. Do we have some green onions? Everybody know? I think we have some, Jade. And then, one thing we didn't make yet, we were gonna make some toasted garbanzo beans, and we season them and then toast them in the oven and put them on salads and just kind of anything, and they're just fantastic. So. Okay, by the way, how many of you would be interested in, I do this cooking class where I make about 44 meals, 44 dishes in 4 hours. It's insanely fun. How many, it is going to cost a minimum of $75, but is that something, how many would be interested in that? It's like 4 hours cooking class, all you do is eat. Okay, because we do have a minimum. Now that we won't do until licensed kitchen is finished. Yeah, and the kitchen is actually scheduled to get completed, so now we're having.
Do you make that in the freezer?
This here?
No, the 44 meals. Or is that just?
No, I just for everybody to taste it. So yeah, I've done that many years. Yeah, we make them all fresh. You literally eat 44 different things.
What's that? Is there olive oil? Is there olive oil and red pepper?
That is they're organic olive oil. Yeah, they're in an oil.
What is that?
These are green onion.
Oh, those are very
I know, isn't it monstrous? It's like glorious. Okay, go ahead and mix this up. My big green oil is out here somewhere. What do you need?
What is it? There. I was going to say, I wondered if that was it. Okay, so here's the deal on Costco and Sam's. So Costco, for a long time, they still are committed to organic. I don't know how many of you know, but Costco bought massive amounts of acres around the country, and they said, hey, if we turn you organic and you grow organic, we will buy everything from your farm. That's lovely. Except in 2018, 2019, they also agreed to allow vegetables in that have a peel. An appeal is the coating that Bill Gates came up with. I'm just so thankful he cares so much about our health. My heart just is like over exploding for this man.
Anyhow, and so he uses this appeal coating, which is, for those of you who don't know what it is, since 2018 they've used it on fruits, vegetables, every grape, right? So there are certain companies that do not allow appeal, or any other company like Appeal to put that on that coating, but it's beneficial because they say, oh, it's not dangerous, even though it's never been proven to actually exit the body, so then you have this accumulative effect. But it just keeps things preserved and lasting longer, which is why you can buy a plum and it's still great in 4 weeks, which totally throw that away if it's still good in 4 weeks. Okay, that should be rotten by then. So you just kind of want to be aware of that. Natural Grocers is one of the only stores in America that will guarantee there's no appeal or any of those products, byproducts like that being used on their produce. We will be another one when we open up locally. So anything we bring in will not have appeal on it in any form.
Can I share one quick thing on this?
Please.
So, can I turn this off?
So many things.
I'm needy. Great.
Thank you.
Okay, so
I need a little
does
more.
anyone know why preservatives mess up our body? Does anyone know why? Huh?
Our bodies don't digest them.
What was that?
Our bodies do not digest them.
Bodies don't digest them. Okay, yeah. So there are definitely issues sometimes with breaking it down.
All the nutrients are gone, it seems to me like, if they add preservatives, that just takes away from a lot of nutrients.
Yeah, yeah. It can get because it can preserve things past their normal nutrient availability window. So that's true. What was that? Poison. Okay. So here's what's going on. So when I say the word metabolism, what do you guys think of? Speed. You think speed? Burning calories, okay? So metabolism, there's 2 types of metabolism. There's catabolic reactions, which break things down, and there's anabolic reactions, which build things up. And it's a combination of your catabolic reactions and your anabolic reactions that is what makes up your metabolism. So if someone's like, oh, I have a really slow metabolism, like literally some of these reactions that require enzymes to break things down. What breaks things down? Enzymes do. So enzymes come in, boop, 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 break things down. Enzymes are also used to build things back up again. Enzymes are just, they're catalysts. Minerals also play a big role in that in terms of sparking reactions. But if you have like a fast metabolism, your body's very quickly breaking things down and putting it in its appropriate storage department, whether that's in your liver, in your cell, or being used to rebuild your scratch, that you've got on your arm while you're blueberry picking the earlier day. Like your body's very quickly doing those chemical reactions to break your food down and then use those materials to build your body back up again. That's what results in a fast metabolism or like a healthy metabolism. So what are preservatives? Preservatives a lot of times are enzyme inhibitors because they're trying to prevent food from breaking down on the shelf. So now all of a sudden you're eating enzyme inhibitors. And what do you think that's doing to your metabolism? Slowing it down. You are literally eating the anti-digestion material. It's like, it's the stuff designed. And the crazy part about this is, they've followed people, they have sent microscopes, actually they had someone swallow a camera. Some of you already attended a class where I shared this, but they filmed, they made a meal for these people. One was they homemade the noodles, just used flour and water, and I think they put an egg yolk in there or something. Have you all made noodles? I haven't gotten that cool yet. Okay, so they make the noodles, boil them, basic meal, and then they fed that to them, and then they had a separate meal, which was just like ramen noodles. And here's the thing, it was the exact same levels of carbohydrates, fats, and proteins in the 2 meals. The only difference is one was homemade and one was a shelf-stable noodle. And they had people eat it. And if you look in the digestive tract of the first meal that was homemade, within between 1 to 3 hours, those noodles were pulverized. It was white. You couldn't even see the noodle anymore in their digestive tract. It was broken down into flour. It was really watery, totally getting broken down. In the second option, 3 hours later, you could still see the ramen noodle. It had not turned into white flour. It had not started to break down at all. So it has so many preservatives, which is what keeps it shelf stable. Right? It's wild. So you got a lot of people having gut health issues right now, and it's we got to stop eating the stuff that's preventing food from breaking down. So on that same note, I want to mention enzyme inhibitors actually occur naturally in nature, which is what makes grains, nuts and seeds, and beans shelf stable. So like garbanzo beans, I've met people who are like, oh my gosh, I cannot eat beans, they give me terrible indigestion. So part of that could be like their microbiome's not adapted to that kind of plant fiber, and so it's just gonna be like a longer process maybe. But the other possibility there is if they're really sensitive to enzyme inhibitors, that person's gonna want to make sure they soak their beans at least 12, well, it depends on the bean type. Some beans release their enzyme inhibitor within like 4 hours, like lentil beans. I mean, honestly, if I only have an hour before a mealtime, I'm still gonna soak it. Like, I'm still gonna soak it, even if it's just an hour. But ideally, like, black beans need like to be soaked overnight. It takes a while for them to release that enzyme inhibitor. Garbanzo beans also take a while. But your legumes, like lentil beans, are pretty quick. 4 hours will do the trick. But that's why you want to soak and then rinse your beans and legumes before you cook them, because it'll help release that enzyme inhibitor. And then, because it thinks it's about to grow, it thinks it's been planted, right? Because that's where, like, it's really cool how nature gets triggered by its environment. Because if you plant a seed and all of a sudden it rains, it's like, I'm growing! And then it, like, let's go the enzyme inhibitor, and it starts to convert, you know, the sugars into, like, use it for fuel to grow. So you're just like, pretend you're like kind of psyching it out, thinking that it's going to grow, so let's go the enzyme inhibitor. So yeah, I just met a lot of people who do much better on soaked and sprouted beans and nuts than they do on normal, like, straight off the shelf. Cashews, I don't like eating them if they haven't been soaked first. It's just like my stomach doesn't always sit well with them. But if I soak them first for like anywhere between 1 and 4 hours and rinse them off, not a problem. So you'll notice this foamy stuff on top after you soak stuff. You'll notice that foam. That's what you want to send down the drain. Okay?
Does
Yeah.
that include the raw organic cashews?
Yeah, even raw and organic. Because it's great that they're raw and organic. This way they haven't been sprayed with pesticides, hopefully, and they haven't been heated so that protein is not denatured in any way. So that's great. So now the final step is just taking it from its normal, natural, shelf-stable state and just helping it right along. Now your body can handle some level of enzyme inhibitors, so like don't go on being like upset if you're eating a non-soaked and sprouted nut or seed. Like, it's not gonna hurt. Your body's designed to break some of that down. It's just you'll break it down faster if it's soaked first. Yeah. Any questions about that? Okay. Cool. That's all.
It's like perfect timing.
Oh.
Okay, good. Okay, we're gonna make 2 more things real quick here. This is where I'm gonna say you a lot on Monday. So, milk. Number 1, just pick up the wet nurse. I don't care what you're thinking. You want some milk, go get a cow, put her in your backyard, name her Betsy, and suck out of her when you're thirsty, okay? This whole going around buying milk, I cannot understand it. Milk makes you overweight, period. Like, hello, guys, just be reasonable. When you're born, you suck out of your mother. And the milk from your mother has all, number 1, you're covered in lactobacillus when you come out of the womb, right? And then if you're not nursing, you don't get any of that lactobacillus into your body. So now you already have 50% chance of having far worse immune issues because you aren't even sucking in the lactobacillus that's sitting there in the vaginal area. When you come out, boom, you're born, right? So literally the milk from the mother has all the protein equivalent that you need, all of the fats. It is perfectly for your body. Milk is designed from the mother's breast to your baby, right, to the baby, with exactly what that baby is going to need. It knows what the baby needs because it made the baby. When we substitute sugar water, which is all of your formulas are over 60% sugar, 100%. You can't find one that's less. If you do, let me know. But that is exactly what it is. Now, I will tell you that I don't know when we started getting addicted to cow's milk. I don't care if you want to drink cow's milk. That is fun. But you have to understand that it is not going to make you skinny. Okay? I'm from Wisconsin. That's all I can say. Okay? Anyhow, so people are a little bit larger in Wisconsin and anywhere that they drink a lot of milk if they're not constantly exercising, working at it, because cow from the milk is there to raise a baby calf to 600 pounds or more within a year. Raise your hand if you would like to weigh 600 pounds or more in a year. That's just, we're not designed to break that down. And I'm just going to go on a rant for a minute because I can. So you're in my house. Anyhow, is that you make renin, right? So casein and lactose intolerant. You've heard that, right? Guess what? You make lactase, which is an enzyme that breaks down lactose until you wean from your mother. Age 4 or 5, you don't make much of it anymore. Why? Because you're not sucking out of your mother anymore. right? So you make renin, which breaks down casein, until you're about 3 or 4 or 5. And then you're not sucking on your mother anymore, so you don't make it much anymore, right? This is just how the body is designed. So I don't know when we started sucking out of cows thinking our few little renin molecules and our lactase can possibly break down the amount of fat and proteins designed for a cow in our body. I don't know. Now, if you're desperate, you can't nurse, you want to give some to your baby, great. Maybe use goat's milk. It's a little bit more, a goat is a little bit less large than a cow, right? So it might be a little bit better for the baby. This is just anatomically thinking. We are not designed, never were, to break down cow's milk. So if you're drinking it, right now you can ferment it. If you are going to ferment a kefir and get rid of Crohn's, go for it because you're going to. It's phenomenal.
now
You
it has
can use
enzymes.
some it's right. You've been fermenting, you've added some enzymes to it. You don't need that, but if it's what you want to do, great. But if you're going to the grocery store wasting your money on gallons of milk, you can stop. You don't need it. You've just not been told the truth about calcium. It's all in my book. The entire calcium cover-up, all about osteoporosis, and the calcium is milk is the #1 cause of osteoporosis in the world. The highest rates of osteoporosis live in the highest rates of people sucking out of cows because that's what causes osteoporosis, because it's too acidic to the body. That's all covered in my book. I just want you to realize that, okay, Karen doesn't drink milk and didn't raise my kids drinking milk. And we're all great. We're all very healthy. So moving on, and I don't care if you do, but if you're going to do cheeses, kind of look for raw cheese, look for raw milk, look for those. You can buy a quarter of a cow. You can take stock in a goat, literally. And then you can use goat milk and you can use cow's milk. Just don't look at it as I need to have this. That's all I want. So I'm going to cover my type of milk. I want you to know our type of milk. It's all bioavailable, all full of enzymes, right? So you can use sprouted almonds or just regular almonds. If you don't want to sprout them, I don't care. This is a nut milk maker. Just kidding. This is a nut butter maker. My brain and my mouth don't go at the same time. Anyhow, which is clearly true. So you can make butter, any kind of like peanut butter. We make a lot of our own butters. I also bought this on purpose to show you. You can also buy raw almond butter at a store. So why you want raw and not roasted is because then it's raw and has enzymes. If it's roasted, it won't have that. So this is a salt-free almond butter. I don't even know if it's raw, but I bought it so you could see. You can buy, there's 2 companies that we will sell. Artesiana makes a really good raw nut butter. Anyhow, so you can use this and you can just literally put a scoop of this in your water, add some vanilla, some honey or syrup, and blend it, and boom, you have nut milk. I'm going to show you our way of making nut milk just so you can see it. So I'm going to go ahead, and this is going to be loud. Beans or seeds, it turns into a flour first, then the oil is released and you make a butter. So then you have a nut butter. So this is an almond butter. So you can make your own butter or you can buy some nut butter. I make a lot of blends of nut butter, so I'll do like pistachios, macadamia nuts, walnuts, whatever. I'll just make a blend and then I'll blend that up, and I use that every day. Like, we drink nut milk all the time. Nuts are very high in omega-3s. A lot of people, most people in America are way too high in omega-6s, not near enough omega-3s. So you want to bring that ratio a little bit closer to each other. So that's kind of why we use nut milk. So I'm going to make this because we're going to drink that with our granola, and we'll finish that in a minute. But I'm also going to make one last thing for you to watch. These are the raw bars. So a raw bar, and if one of you wants to take the raw bars out of the dehydrator, and you can put them on 3 plates, so maybe get 3, or what you could do here. You like put one here, one here, and then one on the peanut butter. Let's put the peanut butter one on here, if that's okay, Annie, in case you look out. They're on 3 separate trays. And here is this. There you go. Here's this, ladies. Awesome. Here. Okay, so having that many children, number one was insane. I totally understand that. Number two, it caused a large food bill. And so one thing we did was we had fast food in our kitchen. So we always said fast food was, you know, the apples and the oranges and trail mix and the cucumbers and all things you could just run and grab and run to the we had a lot of trail mix, but we also did a lot of bars. We did granola bars, flaxseed bars, and raw bars. All those recipes are in my cookbook. I gave almost all of our cafe recipes are in the cookbook. Anyhow, so what I'm gonna make right now is a 3-in-1 raw bar. It's a smaller recipe. I will send this to you. Again, I'll send you recipes. If you have your email on there, you'll get them. This is a recipe that makes like 6 cups of batter, quote unquote, of a cookie. Batter is not a cookie, but a raw bar. And then I split it. So the first, I just take 2 cups out, put it on a dehydrator, and I'll dehydrate it. Then I add cacao, which is chocolate, raw chocolate. This is raw chocolate. This is 100% dark chocolate. There's no milk. There's no additives, there's no emulsifiers, there's no sugars, nothing added. This is 100% dark chocolate. I'll add this, and then we'll have a chocolate batch, and then I'll add peanut butter or peanut butter, or like we could add a peppermint, make peppermint, buckwheat. You know, I love buckwheat. I put buckwheat in a lot of things. So depending on what you want to do, I just chose peanut butter, and I wanted to show you, and I could pass this around. Ding, 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 ding. How to get it out? Any ideas, Amy, on how they could sample this? Me either. Okay, so this is homemade peanut butter. It takes like a minute to make, literally a minute and a half, and you get homemade peanut butter. It tastes amazing. Just like I made the almond butter, I just use raw peanuts, or if you have a roasted peanut. But that, and then you can add salt if you want. So this is a peanut butter. I'll use a cup of it in the recipe. I'll leave the other cup out so you can take a little sample and put it on your plate if you want. And we'll be eating here in just a minute. So, okay. How are we all doing? It's only 7:30. I'm not freaking out anymore. So, we don't use a lot of sugar in our home. I use it for a couple recipes. And so we use a lot of dates. These are dates that have been soaked. So these had pits in them when I got them, so I took the pits out, me and some of the girls, and then I just soaked them overnight. So then you have these dates. Now I'm gonna make date paste, which is dates, and then I'm gonna pour out some more of the liquid. It was covered. And I'm gonna blend this. This is what I use for a lot of baking. So you can use maple syrup, and you can use honey, right? Or you can use date paste, and date paste is delicious. So I'm just gonna put these dates in a little bit of the water. And make date paste.
Now, would you store the nut butter and the paste in the fridge?
Yep, you can store anything in the fridge. We don't store the nut butter in the fridge because we eat it so fast. We make it fresh every single day. I make nut butter because we use it in all of our milk. So if we want milk for our latte, right, our dandelion tea latte or whatever, we are always using nut milk. And then we use it like on the granola. We made you granola. I did actually use organic cane sugar in this granola. I put a little bit in it because a lot of you have eaten cereal that has sugar in it, and you kind of have that flavor. I did put some in here. It's mostly honey, but I did use some because I want you guys to love it and know you can make. You don't have to buy granola anywhere ever again. It is so easy to make granola. It is the. How many of you watch us make granola today when you're here? It's so easy, right? You just stand here and you make sure that the sugar dissolves into the honey. That was easy. And then I don't measure, of course, so I added like all sorts of seasonings, and I wanted like, because it's fall, so I put a lot of fall seasonings in there, and it tastes, and vanilla, it's so good. I've been munching on it every time I walk by. It has cranberries from Thailand.
No, the raisins are from Taiwan. The
There's no
cherries
raisins.
are from Wisconsin.
The cherries, okay, there's cherries from Wisconsin, if you feel special. Anyhow, so that's what we're gonna do there. So I'm gonna go ahead and show you how easy it is to make a raw bar. Don't let it scare you. So really, a food processor and the blender just.
When else do you use date paste?
Oh, you can use it in all your, like at Christmas when you're making any pies, anywhere that calls for sugar, you can use a date paste. It's just, it'll be more liquidy, so you have to accommodate a little bit, but you can actually just use it as honey on your bread, or I mean anywhere you want a good sugar. If you're feeling like, oh, I need, like my blood sugars are low, I'm feeling kind of run down at 10 o'clock and at 2 o'clock, just take a scoop of date paste or put it in one of your drinks. I mean, it is
Or
really
just
yummy.
eat some
It's good
dates,
stuff.
dates and almonds.
Or just eat a date.
After
Yeah, I
that.
take a date and stick an almond in it. Yum. Yeah, like and you can roll it in coconut or something, and it's just divine. So,
What
yeah,
about
it's
for
easy.
diabetics?
What's that?
For diabetics.
So for dates, well, number one, if you have type 2 diabetes, you will be able to get rid of that within 3 weeks or less. Pretty much guaranteed. Yeah, it might take months, but it's usually only about up to 3 to 6 weeks.
But can they
If
have
it's
the
type
date
1, what's that?
Can they have the date
Mhm,
paste?
yeah. So it's just depending on where your blood sugars are. It's always hard when, and I know diabetes type 1, sometimes it's late onset, sometimes it's, birth onset, but it's hard because I'll hear people say, oh my gosh, my blood sugars drop low, quick, eat some sugar. And I'm like, quick, stop taking so much insulin, It's always like, we could use this right now to educate that you're only taking insulin because you're eating so much grain and sugar. So if you stop eating so much grain and sugar, then you don't need as much insulin, and then you'll be healthier because your pancreas is going to start healing. I mean, it's like we've wrapped our heads around the fact that, oh my gosh, their blood sugar is low, give them sugar, And I'm like, oh my gosh, can you just stop taking so much insulin? But it's that's a dangerous call to make unless you're the person doing that. And so we will be teaching again. We taught our diabetes class right when we started, like in June. Anyhow, so we'll be teaching that again. And then I do a cooking class for diabetics, so they kind of understand how they can season things and flavor things that are careful if they're type 1 or type 2. So I speak really of course you can get rid of this because I've just had so much experience with that. So please don't take it as cocky, just take it as, oh, she's had a lot of experience with that. Because I don't ever intend to say, oh, it's really easy when some things can be hard. But you are looking at someone who has reversed her epilepsy and her scoliosis and has helped her clients reverse narcolepsy and epilepsy and you name it, multiple forms of cancer and just so much depression and anxiety and just so many things that I know what the body is capable of. So when I say, oh yeah, 100% of my people that have been on thyroid medication, well, they're not on thyroid medication anymore. Did I do that? They did it, right? When I say, oh yeah, all of my type 2 diabetics have been able to get off their insulin and reverse that within one was 6 weeks, the rest of them were under 3 weeks. I didn't do anything. They did it all. I just shared how the body works. So it's not that I'm being cocky. So I hope that I'm not offending anybody. I'm just being blunt, which is what Karen seems to do a lot of. So anyhow, thank you for not commenting on that. I also screwed this up and put my date paste in first, which you can, but I really want to do the nuts first. So we'll just add lip, just cares.
I would if it's a sensitive diabetic, I would limit the dates to 2.
They're very, very sugary.
But
Is it a lower glycemic, like type 2 than like table sugar would be? Like it's a good replacement.
definitely lower glycemic than table sugar. And what I was almost getting to, but then I stopped myself from saying because I didn't want to overcomplicate this conversation, is that fruit has fructose, and your cells are designed to absorb glucose. So fructose has to be converted into glucose before your cells absorb it. And when you have excess consumption of what would naturally occur in a fruit, that all gets sent to the liver to convert. But your small intestine can actually do that conversion up to a reasonable amount. So 2 dates or an apple or a normal amount of fructose, that conversion actually happens in your small intestine. It doesn't go to your liver. But if you have over a natural amount of sugar, then the small intestine cannot do it. So it sends it to the liver to convert. And then if you already have excess glucose in your bloodstream, the liver is going to actually then convert it into a lipid and store it as fat. And that's how you get non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, because your liver is regionally converting excess glucose into fat in order to keep your blood sugar levels from going off the wazoo. Yeah, so that was what I was not going to share because I didn't know if it was relevant. But
Good. It's just so fun to share. It's funny because I know oftentimes people be like, oh, they just share so much information. But I'm always like, yeah, because the 3rd or 5th or 17th time you've heard it, it's going to click. And if I don't say it, and I can talk fast, I can say a whole bunch of stuff at once, But if it keeps going in, one time it's going to start coming out. And someone's going, oh yeah, I'm dealing with this. You're like, blah. And they'll be like, well, how did you know all that? I don't know. It just went in. I didn't know it's coming out, So if you don't say it, how's anybody ever gonna learn it? So don't.
So anyway, so the last thing I want to mention, because that's why people say that high fructose corn syrup is a big culprit of fatty liver disease, because if it was already glucose, it would be sent straight out into your bloodstream and be stored in other areas of your body. But because it's fructose, high fructose corn syrup, it has to go to the liver first to be converted into glucose. And then if your blood sugar levels are always high, then your liver's going to store it regionally. So that's just one, people are always dogging high fructose corn syrup, like as though it's like almost even worse for you than sugar. But that's one reason why it just puts extra burden on your liver.
And it is one of the worst foods you can possibly consume, is high fructose corn syrup. Because of the corn. The corn's all GMO, it's all been sprayed.
Karen, what are you making again?
I'm making raw bars.
Oh.
I already have them done. I've only
Can I tell everybody what you put in?
Yes, of course you
Okay.
can. I've got my list here too, but you
So
go
in
for
her
it.
roller, she has some hemp seeds, sprouted almonds, pecans, the cacao powder, sunflower seeds, pumpkin seeds, dried plums, the date paste, vanilla, olive oil, and water. Did I miss anything?
You are great. No, I don't know how you kept up with all that, but yes, that's exactly what I did. She said, Amy, she didn't say a thing you said because she was writing everything down. It was awesome. Okay, so for a raw bar, this is literally just your dates. I put plums in here. You can usually use raisins, and then date paste, and your nuts and seeds. So it doesn't matter if it all gets smushed up or not, because I'm gonna put this into a big bowl and add the rest of the things to it. This is just a great way to start. So.
Thank you, Nicole.
Let's just. Great.
We said you should upgrade your process.
Okay. So we are actually going to just take 5 minutes to put things out so you can taste everything. I'll actually finish making the milk right now so you can see that.
Now, my favorite kind of bar, I don't have a food processor or a dehydrator, or I did in college at least, maybe I'll get one in my house. But so I have made my own bars by mixing oats, peanut butter, honey, and all my superfoods, like anything else I want to throw in there, cranberries, pecans, and then I would add in puffed rice, because that can get really dense. Have you all ever made your own bars? I mean, like, those things are very nutrient rich, so like, I do add in either puffed quinoa or puffed rice, just to kind of not make it so rich, but I'll add like some salt to that, whatever else you want, cranberries, pecans, beet almond.
Yeah.
When you're making your own bars,
When I send the recipe, add whatever you want in here. This is, I didn't have raisins, so I put plums in there. It just doesn't matter. Like, life is fun, so like, don't worry about recipes so much. It'll all work out. And it'll taste great.
yeah, I just feel like making your own bars is like such a good way to save money, because they charge like $2.50 a bar now. So, all through college, and I when I was going through college, so I got free rent, so I could just live with families for bars. Yeah. So like, I would like get those kids in there, make the bars, make balls, and they loved it. And I would wash their hands and just like mix it all up.
I'm gonna make you start.
Yeah.
Okay. So, any questions?
Are you gonna steam the zucchini noodles or
Already did.
Oh wow.
Oh yeah, they're done. So I guess then so Tara and Candy and I, we're gonna put all the food kind of out so you can taste it, and then we'll kind of just tell you what everything is, and then you guys will be able to go through and taste everything. So, raw food, Mediterranean, you're gonna love all the flavors, but this is not hard, is it? Like it's not. You guys just if you're thinking, I'm so afraid of the kitchen and how to start, just get over that. Really, just start playing in your kitchen. Just get vegetables, get fruits, get nuts and seeds, and just really start playing with them, because your life will change. And the cool thing is, your life isn't going to just change physically. It's going to change emotionally. I always say, because we talk a lot about God, we talk a lot about our Creator, and I'm always like, if you are constantly on your phone, okay, I gotta take this medication, I gotta go to this appointment, okay, at 2, at 3, at 6, and every single day there's always something you gotta take. What are you bonded to? Right, and if God is like, hey, Joe, I need you to do this. Here's one of the things that we've told our retreat attendees today, some that are here and some that have already left, is I want us to work on downloads, listen to inspiration. People forget, they don't know how to. Like, when's God talking to me and when is my brain talking to me? It's your brain is right here and your downloads come in right through here, right? Like, you are being inspired to do things probably every day and you don't hear it. We don't hear it because we're busy. Our loud music is on. We're so busy with our doctor's schedule and our mother's doctor's schedule and our sister's doctor's schedule and our kid's doctor's schedule and the medicine we're supposed to take and the food we're supposed to eat, and then, we're so busy we can't even eat. Oh my gosh, we're just so busy, right? Guys, I ran 3 businesses and we made every meal for my kids. Almost every single meal. We ate together as a family at night and they took homemade food to school. So there's no excuses on that. If it's your priority, if you want to eat better, if you want to stop drinking toxic coffee, you can do that because you can buy a non-toxic coffee and make your own coffee and take it with you in a container. So like it's gonna start where here and here. When do you want to start feeling better? Because all the food you eat will what? Either make you healthy or make you sick. So it starts becoming a choice, and I am very bold, and that's just how God sent me, and so if you want to continue feeling how you feel, continue eating what you eat. If you want to feel better, you want to lose weight, you want to really have more energy, you need to change what you're eating, what you're thinking, what you're putting on your skin. It is that simple. It is not hard. It isn't. What's hard is overcoming and your thought going, I just can't do this, I just can't do that. That's what's hard. But that part, that's easy once you understand the thought processes. So again, I'm excited for you to share and to eat all this food with us. You can mingle anywhere in the house. Please just try not to spell yellow turmeric curry on my furniture. But or your white shirt, which Karen just did, of course, a couple days ago. Again, but anyhow, someone have a talk with God about why he made that stained everything. But just kidding. Anyhow, so really just work out what can you do the next month while we're apart. I mean, unless you want to come to the class in a couple weeks, but what do you want to do? What do you want to do in your kitchen to make a change, and just doing one thing is going to help. And then maybe add a second thing to do something. But if you're going to feel it, the whole thing is you are going to feel it. So, okay, we're going to go ahead and line up everything, get things kind of rolling. If you want to kind of push the chairs back, mingle a little bit, and then just 5 minutes and you can come right back in. We are going to eat from this end and go around and leave. So if you want to be first in line because you have to go, park yourself over here, because that's where it'll start. Yes, if you guys can fold up the chairs and lean them, lean